Thank you. So it comes to the last speaker of the day before the panel discussion. So we come back to the engineers again. So the next speaker will be Mr. Conrad Wong. He's the vice chairman of Yao Li Company, and he's also from the Hong Kong Green Building Council, chairman of the Hong Kong Green Building Council. So he'll be talking to us about green and healthy building design and construction, a holistic approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Fong, for your introductions. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm well aware that I'm the last speaker of the day, so I will press my iPhone. 20 minutes, I will be very punctual, don't worry. Thank you for staying behind. Green Building Council. I'm from the Hong Kong Green Building Council. We basically redefined ourselves last year, who we are. We are thinking that we should be the organization to help to save the planet and improve the well-being of the people of Hong Kong by transforming the city into a greener built environment. Because 40% of the total world carbon emissions actually come from buildings like this one. The Hong Kong figures go up to 60% because we have little manufacturing left. So most of the energy actually consumed by building. So if we need to tackle the carbon emission problem for Hong Kong, we must tackle buildings. And that's what we see nowadays. Green building is a tool to save the world. At the same time, we need to provide a well-being to the general public of Hong Kong. How do we do that? By doing leading transformation in the advocating the green policy to the government, introducing green building practices to the stakeholders, and a set design construction standard for the building professional, and last but not the least, promoting green living to the people of Hong Kong. So there are these basically 4 pillars. We are also a member of the World Green Building Council. This is a worldwide organization that dedicates ourselves to promote green buildings. Now, I've been in this job as chairman of the Hong Kong Green Building Council for nearly 3.5 years. This is my second term. The most frequent question I've been asked is, Conrad, tell me how much I need to pay more for my building to be greened. Okay? And what are the incentives if I want to be green? And my answer will be, if we don't do green, we will have no future. Do we have I'm sure many of us have children that are below 35 years old. Now, the scientific community is already convinced that if we have a business as usual scenario, between 30 to 50 years, we have a major global disaster. So our children, anyone that below 35, will hit that disaster. So if you do not do anything now, it will be too late. So I'm telling all the gentlemen that ask me that question, if there's the biggest legacy you can leave behind for your children, is to start building green. And if you look at the entire life cycle cost, it doesn't cost that much. Because most of the buildings that we occupy, if you look at the entire life cycle cost, the highest cost is definitely the staffing cost, not the building construction cost. So if you're able to save just 10% of that, you save an enormous amount of money. So that's why we believe when we're designing a building, we should really look into not the greenness of the building, but also the health, the well-being, and the productivity of the occupants. That's why we call this an integrated or holistic approach. Now, but we do not have concrete data to support that, unfortunately. That's why the World Green Building Council, we launched a survey, a study a couple of years ago, trying to see the linkage between green building, health, and productivities. And we did a survey, we did some desktop studies, and we launched actually a report last year, which I'm going to share a little bit with you. I cannot share the entire report because I will not have enough time. Now, some of this may sound common sense, but now we probably have sufficient data to back up what we're trying to say. Now, the first finding is, if the CO2 level, the carbon dioxide level, is kept to a low level, you have about 8 to 11% of productivity gain. So it's very important that we have sufficient fresh air. Okay? Now, secondly, Hong Kong has a very bad habit. in case the overseas guests, you haven't noticed, we try to turn the air conditioning unit very, very low in temperatures. Now, but from further study, we found that if the temperature is about 30 degrees Celsius, you start losing productivity. But you put the temperature below 21 Celsius, we start also losing productivities. Now, most people in Hong Kong try to set the temperature around 19, 20 degrees Celsius. It's actually counterproductive. So this research, we are more and more gaining the data and supporting that. We set up the right temperature, not only can save you money from the energy bill, but also improve your staff productivity. If we have 174% more natural lighting, you'll be able to sleep 46 minutes more. This is interesting. More lighting, you look at outside window more, you got more sunlight, you sleep better at night. Sleep better, you improve your performance. A good design, greenness, will help you to lessen your frustrations. Hong Kong's extremely dense, extremely pressurized place. We all work in extremely harsh conditions. So all this habitat will enable us to ease our work, to lower our tension and stress, and be able to perform better. Noise distraction in this office, 66%, compared with the less distracted area. Surprisingly, we also discovered that with a good design that makes and let people to mingle and really connecting each other, you actually have a lower staff turnover, 40 to 12%. Now, Hong Kong is a place that is very competitive. We all experience a very large staff turnover, across different sectors. So by designing good buildings, by designing in such a way that people can mingle and talk to each other better and more frequently, then you actually have a job of the turnover rate. I think previous speakers also mentioned walking is very important. So walk more, that will increase your health, and then you actually feel better. I'm not going to put too much detail into that. So what I'm trying to say is green building does not only mean energy efficiency. It's a holistic approach that we should also improve your health and also productivity and well-being. Now, I'm going to put all this research idea to share with you a project that we're building for the HST, Young Monday Special Clinic. It's designed by Wong Tin Cheung and other consultants. Now, we have deliberately put in what we call healthy staircase. So even though you have the escalator, in case the people are not willing to walk that much, but we create a very healthy staircase so that we encourage people to walk a little bit more. Also, not only from the lobby to the first floor, but entire building. We decorated the corridor in a much better than the conventional way, and it's all protected, and then people can feel easier to walk up and down. So we encourage people to walk up and down. Getting the natural sunlight and space are very important, so the concourse area is extremely important. And so we decided to have introduced a lot of sunlight in those areas. So this is just one of the view, a little bit more spacious than usual, but you can feel the atmosphere is much more welcoming with all the natural lighting. This is another direction. So hopefully the people working there, going from A to B, will feel more comfortable and will feel less stress. We decided to put the staff core inside the centralized building and put the clinical area, put the clinical rooms alongside the building so have a better view. So this is the upper view here. It's actually taken from the construction site right now. So this is exactly what the patient will see in the future. We deliberately set back the building a little bit so that there will be more cross ventilations, not only to help the microclimate in the area, but let other blocks also have a better view. We also introduced this rehabilitation gardens. This is actually located on the 4th level, about 330 meters. So in the future, when the patient feeling more comfortable, and not in the summer probably, but in the autumn time, in the springtime, they actually walk outside and enjoy themselves. Hopefully, they can release their stress and then can actually feel a little bit better. I have another one on the roof garden, a similar concept, not only as suggested by Victor, that talk about blocking on the sunlight to reduce the energy load underneath, but also creating an area that people will feel comfortable and like to walk around and feel they enjoy themselves in this particular area. Roof garden, top roofs, this is close to 1,400 meters square. It's all really nicely decorated with lots of trees, lots of planting, so make them feel very much, hopefully, as home as they possibly could. And by doing so, what we want to do is to create an atmosphere for the patient to feel a little bit better so that they can recover faster. These are all architectural design. Now I'm going to switch a little bit to talk about all the active design for energy savings. Because as I mentioned, energy savings is very crucial to keep the carbon footprint low for all the buildings in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is very hot, very humid, and the sun is, as you can demonstrate today, is actually very strong. So we need to have a lot of different facade, sun shading devices in order to block the sunlight so that can lower the heat transmitted in the buildings. So that's why we introduced all these sun shading devices there. Victor covered a little bit of this. We also introduced a oil-filled chiller in the system. It can actually have a much higher COP, not only on the peak load, but also on the park load. So when the chiller system is occupying at the full capacity, but the efficiency is still very high. We estimated that the annual saving will around about 8%. And we will also introduce what we call the energy optimization solutions. Now, the best way I can describe this is like a autopilot on the airplane. Basically, what this system does, we build a lot of sensors, much more sensors than we ever built before. So we are monitoring the ambient temperature, humidity, and the cooling load at the same time. With all these figures, the computer, through an algorithm, will determine what's the best setting for the chiller, cooling tower, and the pump. So basically, we optimize the settings so that provide the cooling load for the building, for the occupants, but with minimum amounts of energies. Now, with this system, I'll give one example. We've been doing a lot of simulations, and we estimate that it's quite possible that we save around 17% of the annual air conditioning energies. Now, how can we do that? Because a lot of time, people will think, turn the chiller to the maximum capacity to produce a cooling load. But very often, chiller is the highest consumption of energy. If somehow you turn the cooling tower a bit higher, the pump speed a bit higher, but lower the chiller energy, then actually you can optimize the system. But this is actually changes during the day and night, during different temperature and humidity. So this requires a constant monitoring. Now the system that we provide now, we monitor the building something like every 15 minutes. So basically we tune the system every 15 minutes. Another mechanism produced is what we call a modulating valve. Basically, it's controlling the chill water into the buildings. Now, very often in a lot of buildings, I'm sure you experience that one corner is too hot, another corner is too warm. Now, this modulating valve will modulate that to make sure the entire water balancing is correct, and you will not allow any excess flow of hot, chilled water into the floor. So basically, it's giving you a better thermal comfort, at the same time, reduce the amount of energy that needs to be used. And we estimate that they will save another 10% of the HVAC system. Now, people mention about motion detection. Now, this is a different system. This is what we call PRESS. Basically, it's an artificial intelligence software that recognizes your body shape. So if the CCTV on, we put the installer software, you walk in, I will turn on lighting for you, or switch on the air conditioning unit for you. But most of the sensor, if you do not move, the moving sensor, you probably you experience, you will switch it off and you have to wave again. I say I'm here, and they will go back on the lighting again. This system do not do that. You actually recognize your body shape. And we put all this into a website. Basically, you can log it on so we can know instantaneously how your building is performing as far as energy consumption is concerned. Now, we put sufficiently more building into it, you start doing benchmarking. It's going to be a very powerful tool because you know exactly for a similar building why A is spending more energy than B. Now, I actually have a hotel that in Shangwan that we have installed all this system there. And then I turned the system on, and I discovered that my hotel management people, they're not really switching off the lighting as they should. So after that, we were able to communicate with the management and start changing the personal behavior. So all the system, making the data more transparent, you're able to really start changing the people behavior. And some of the active system I described already implemented in a small project in General Outpatient Clinic, and we received very encouraging results. We managed to achieve close to 50% of energy saving. Now to conclude, I think green is equal to health, productivity, and even lower costs. It's not only about getting the environmental concern, but also at the same time, we should improve our well-being, improve our productivity, and getting our costs lower. Now, but from a research point of view, we don't know how fast, how that will translate into patient recovery, because we have not done so yet. I think it'd be extremely interesting if somehow if you can take it on and try to build a linkage between green building and patient recovery. I think that would be extremely meaningful research. Because at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to create? Or more importantly, what kind of world we want to create our future children to be in? And that decision should reflect into our day-to-day business decision. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.